Greetings and a very warm welcome to the channel. The sun is hiding and the magpie is casting. Coming to you guys this morning with a live 1 versus 1 battle, fresh from the ladder. Featuring, spawning in the north, it's going to be the Soviet forces of Jesulin, who is the number 3 ranked Soviet player on the ladders at the present moment. And spawning in the south, it's going to be the Wehrmacht forces of a load of punctuation and the number 3 and the Euro sign, who, for no reason, I'm just going to call Ackbar, because, you know, Ackbar. That's why. The map today is going to be Minsk Pocket. That's right, I'm actually going to remember the name of this map. Hooray! Yeah, Minsk Pocket, of course, this map has been in the release, in the game since release even. Everyone should be very familiar with this. In fact, you know what? Wehrmacht versus Soviets on this map is actually kind of a bit of a blast from the past. I think everyone remembers playing this when the game came out. Of course, a lot has changed since then. This should be a little bit of a blast from the past. I feel like the Wehrmacht and the Soviet factions, because they've been balanced against one another for so long, actually have quite a nice little fight. You know, there's a nice little interplay. You know, Soviets can open with the scout car into the flamer clown car. And then, you know, the Wehrmacht can bring out the 222 and counter it. There's nice interplay between grenadiers who want to shoot at long range and conscripts who want to rush to short range. You know, and that's also reflected in the difference between rifle grenades and Molotovs. You've got the very aggressive MG, the Maxim for the Soviets. You've got the much more defensively oriented MG42 for the Axis forces. And you know, the differences go on and on and on throughout the tech tree. So I don't know. This is a classic matchup. Let's face it, guys. This is a classic matchup. So as we move on into this, Ackbar hasn't chosen a commander, neither has Jesulin. So let's take a look at their force compositions here. We've got 3 squads of conscripts off the bat for our Soviet player. It looks like he's going to be putting up some razor wire in some interesting positions. I wonder what this is about. I mean, I guess this is just a place where you'd want to stand if you wanted to cap and fight in this area. So he's going to put some barbed wire there. Looks like we've got our first scuffle of the game going on over here. Squad of conscripts going to start laying into these pioneers, and at that range, of course, that's a fight the conscripts are going to completely take. 6 men with rifles against 2 or 3 with MP30s, but an MG42 does get set up in the hind quarter of these conscripts, and the pioneers are going to waste no time getting on up close to maximise their DPS. The conscript squad now pinned, and of course, that will force the fallback from Jesulin. Now, if you look at the minimap, we can see both forces pushing up more or less at the same pace. Possibly Jesulin has captured slightly more, but that's pretty typical because the Wehrmacht forces have to stay behind for a little while. The Pioneer Squad has to stay behind for a little while to build the infantry company, whereas Soviets can just move out with their engineers, start training conscripts from their HQ building, and get capturing across the map a little more rapidly. Again, kind of leaning into the Soviets as the aggressors and Axis forces as the defensive army of the two, at least in the early stages of the game. Hang about. They've changed this. This little bit here is totally different. There's like a ramp up here now, and like these walls are open. There's like another way into this complex. Hang about. And they've also changed this bit here, which I realised earlier. This is now much more open. There's also another pathway through here. So yeah, that'll be from December the 3rd. I have to say, actually, I don't think I've actually... No, I have played on this map like twice since then, but apparently not enough to completely remember the differences. Anyway, these conscripts are going to displace a couple of Axis forces here, nothing to write home about, but Jesulin's going to get some advances made here. If he wants, he can grab this munitions point, which is probably a pretty good bet. Of course, at these early stages in the game, every resource point, capped or uncapped, is a pretty big swing, and right now both of the players dead even, 42 and 26 munitions and fuel respectively. Looks like we're going to have a fight taken in mid here. These grenadiers are just about going to have time to complete the cap on this point before being forced back before 2 squads of conscripts. And actually right now a lot of the Wehrmacht units have been forced back in the sort of near past. So I think these 2 grenadier squads are the only active squads right now for Ackbar, who's reinforcing and getting his other squads back in the fight. But there's a window here where Jesulin can get some work done. He's going to push with these conscripts. I think he might want to oorah with this conscript squad at the back, maybe, just to get him into the fight in a timely manner. I don't know. Maybe not. Molotov research has been completed for these conscripts, so we could look to see Jesulin throw a Molotov. Possibly just here is going to be good. We'll see if he's going to go for that. Yep, here's the animation just starting here. Oh no, it seems like Ackbar was going to be caught off guard by that one. Well, not entirely, but he started moving his troops just a little late. And of course, the thing to remember about Molotovs is they don't just do damage over time. There is a little bit of burst damage just when the Molotov explodes or sort of, you know, hits the floor and goes off. So if you can get out of that, your troops will be a lot healthier. So if you can dodge it before it lands. Anyway, MG42 set up in a decent position here, but Jesulin's going to have the flank with these conscripts. And it's pretty clear right now that the story of this early game right now is favouring Jesulin. His use of conscripts in their positioning, pretty good. And he hasn't, I mean, he's used one Molotov, another one coming out here. Oh my goodness me. Ackbar's going to get caught out by that one as well. Like I say, just even if you just get splashed by the initial hit, it actually does reasonable damage, and that was demonstrated here. So, not much going in the way of Ackbar right now. I mean, it's not been disastrous, but it just feels like Jesulin's been slightly more efficient in all these fights and forced a lot more fallbacks. Pardon me, from the Axis player than the other way around. Anyway, we've got some Grenadiers capping on the left flank, and there are no Soviet units over there, so it's not all bad news for Ackbar. He's going to try and get into this. And Jesulin's chosen his commander. He's gone for that Lend-Lease doctrine, and seeing as how we've got a lull in the fighting just here, I will crack it open for you. So just hit pause on the YouTube channel if you want to overview those abilities, of course. It's a nice spread on the Lend-Lease commander. You get a lot of the best abilities available, and it's a real good one. It also allows significant opportunities for tech skipping, as in, you know, you can basically just get by on this doctrine almost alone if you're feeling super ballsy. You can just build no tech buildings and just use conscripts, engineers, Dansack machine gun teams, M5 half-tracks, which also bring in guards, and the M4C Sherman, which is actually just a damn good medium tank. That M4C Sherman is just a really good tank. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It can't switch shells, but you know, it's a pretty potent tank. Conscripts here are going to try and do something about the state of the left flank. Of course, these Grenadiers are still capping ground on that side. And let's see, we've got some more conscripts here on the right flank capping for Jesulin. A couple of squads of Axis forces here in mid, and actually these Grenadiers kind of losing this battle at mid-range in light cover with these conscripts. Touch unlucky there, I feel, for Ackbar. I didn't see how the fight started though, so that could have something to do with it. So if I these Grenadiers up here in the left flank, they have been displaced. There's enough conscripts here to cap up all of the ground in pretty good order, and we have our first Dansack spicy machine gun entering the battlefield right now for Jesulin. If I crack the tactical map, you can kind of see the story here. The forces of Jesulin have a much better dispersal, being active in pretty much all areas of the map, and the forces of the Axis player Ackbar reasonably compacted right now. They've been forced right back into sort of this kind of a bubble here. So I'd say right now he presently only has like presence in maybe 20% of the map, and he's getting flanked pretty badly by a number of conscript squads coming in. So let's get back to the action here. So here comes a squad of conscripts. They've just bought enough time for their friends here to oorah in, and that's going to force the fallback. No Molotov required. And actually, indeed, these Grenadiers preemptively falling back. So seemingly Ackbar wants to group all of his forces together and go at it in a much more concerted push. And I reckon that might actually be the right call. Sure, he's going to give Jesulin yet another window of field control. Look at the minimap. Jesulin capping 3-4 points at once on the minimap, pushing the Axis player right back into his base. But there are times when you play as Wehrmacht when actually the right thing to do is fall back all your forces, get your army back together, stop trying to fight with half your force at a time, and take a full hearty swing at the battle. So it looks like, I would say, Ackbar's going to try and take a fight here, and this makes sense because he can take a fight on the doorstep of his base, which means that if the fight goes evenly and all forces have to fall back and retreat, let's say, he'll be able to get back onto the field much sooner. So I would say for Ackbar, now's the time to actually look to take a fight with all your squads, try and involve as many of the enemy's squads as possible, and just get, you know, throw some haymakers outside your base. I'm not sure about this though. Splitting 2 squads right, 2 squads left. Dansack gets set up in a nice position, forcing the fallback at a 1 squad of Grenadiers. MG42 in a nice position back here though, and he can turn that quite easily to defend against the conscripts over here. For now he knows they're not coming, the Grenadiers have that revealed. Panzer Grenadiers are going to be the choice, so of course the Leichter Mechanized Company has been constructed. These guys are going to look to redress the victory point situation, which of course is heavily in Jesulin's favour owing to the map control which he's been able to sustain this game. He leads right now by 100 tickets, which at the 9 minutes mark, you know, that's a pretty reasonable start, I think. That's pretty good. Seemingly, though, Ackbar just gonna have to fall back his forces once again. He's getting really compacted out here, and I feel like if you're forced back this much, you need snipers. You might need a mortar team. Things like that would be really good. And it's too early for him to have identified for sure that Jesulin has gone for the Lend-Lease commander, but he's seen a Dansack, so he has to be thinking that Lend-Lease is a definite option. And with that in mind, it is possible that the Soviet player has skipped a lot of tech, so going for the sniper may actually be more potent than usual because of the lack of counters or the lack of the typical counters available to the Soviet player, because they're just not going to be there, or at least possibly. Having said that, though, Jesulin's not going to play the Lend-Lease commander in a super tech aggressive way. He's actually got Tech 2 building. He's got the Tank of E Battalion command coming up just now. So, and I like this. I really do like this, because I think players who put all their eggs into the Lend-Lease commander often get caught out. It doesn't take much to throw your fuel income off, and then you're just really stuck. And also, you know, certain compositions, even though you have Dansaks, conscripts, engineers, M5s and things, certain compositions will still just completely beat that, and then it helps to have access to other units. So anyway, Dansak here going to get set up in a nice position. These Grenadiers, though, coming in for the counter. A Molotov gets thrown to prevent this, but it's not going to be, it's just a little too late. These Grenadiers, though, probably, I don't know what they're doing. They're kind of just, I'm not sure. They're going to go for like a sort of point-blank rifle grenade into a pretty bad position. Another rifle grenade, though, coming down from this Grenadier squad over here. That will force the spicy machine gun back. A lot of focus fire going down on it, but I don't think it's going to get taken out. Nope. These conscripts, on the other hand, they may well be forfeit. And MG42 pushing up. He needs to start capping these points. Like this MG42, these Grenadiers, I mean, this is a fuel point. This is super valid. He needs to capture it. He's got a pack gun, though, which I like. A little bit of preemptive anti-armor. He knows he's behind, so he knows to expect enemy armor sooner rather than later. Look at this resource disparity. +4 and +6 fuel and munitions respectively for Ackbar, the Axis player. And Jesulin, the Soviet player, has 45 and 73. I mean, that's like beyond a factor of 10 ahead. Like, that is quite the lead. In fact, his manpower income is even higher as well. This is crazy because he's actually at lower supply. So Jesulin right now, it's fair to say, in command of this game. Oh, and he's going for the early well, it's not super early, but he's going for T-34s. So this means, of course, that he has purchased his mechanized regiment HQ. The tech tree of the Soviet player over here pretty much completely finished, more or less before the 12-minute mark. The only thing he's missing, of course, is that the special rifle tactics building, the Tech 1 building. But he probably won't be needing that, and we probably won't see him construct it unless he suddenly has a hankering for some snipers or something like that. If I correct the tack, you can see a number of Jesulin's units were forced back. This means that Ackbar has an opportunity right now. He's going to start capping some stuff all over the field. And the Allied supply drop being used right now, so that's what, 100? Yeah, 100 munitions. And it just drops in a few crates of fuel here. Now let's see, 83 fuel. I've never... Go on, pick it up, Jesulin. I want to see how much fuel this is worth. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy, I'm missing a fight. Come on, buddy. Alright, so he's on 88 and there's 3 boxes of fuel. I'll see how much that's worth. Looks like a Molotov's gone down. Jesulin! Fuel supplies obtained. Okay, so each box is worth 10. So that's 100 munitions for 30 fuel. That seems pretty reasonable, yeah. Oh, it's the good old Minsk pocket missing ABP glitch. Yeah! Awesome. This has been in since the game's release as well. Consult the warning log for answers. Let there be panic. Love it. So, Relic. Doing good. Well, the T-34 is going to make itself known. Interesting camo on this, actually. T-34 is going to make itself known, and it's going to start bullying these Grenadiers. There is a pack gun on the field. Where is it? Oh, there are 2 pack guns. One located here, nice positioning on that. The other one's just going to turn to cover its slight blind spot. In fact, both pack guns now turning. But the T-34 is going to have pretty much free reign of this area of the map, so the Panzer Grenadier is going to preemptively fall back. Remember, the cannon on the T-34 pretty good against infantry, and again, seems like Ackbar in a pretty bad position here, fighting from behind in a big way. He does have 1 squad of unchecked Grenadiers over here on the left flank, getting some capping done, so we'll have to see if they're able to turn the tide, but it's 13 minutes 45, and he's just gone past 50% of his victory points, so this could be a quick one if Jesulin stays this far ahead. My goodness, this is a very brave T-34, taking a massive dive here, but I think it's actually going to sneak past these pack guns. Oh my goodness. Oh, Panzerfaust comes down though, and that will be the end. That will be the end for that T-34. Boom, boom. Pack guns, pretty good, especially into the rear armor of a T-34, so I don't know, was that T-34 worth it? I mean, it bought him a few more fallbacks. You know what, he's so far ahead that actually probably was worth it. I mean, like, I mean, because he sacrificed a T-34 to keep himself, like, ludicrously far ahead for, like, another minute or 2, and when you've been ludicrously far ahead for, like, the previous, like, 10 minutes, that's actually pretty strong. So whilst I don't like the way he lost the tank, I actually think it probably pans out okay for Jesulin, that one. And, I mean, how much is a T-34 anyway? Aren't they only like 80 fuel or something nuts? 80 fuel! Yep, so, you know, they're not the best medium tank in the game, that's for sure, but I actually really rate them. I think they're pretty good. I very much enjoy using them. They're much better against infantry than a lot of other medium tanks. And for 80 fuel, you can use them can use them in a way that you just can't with other medium tanks. Anyway, Jesulin here going to be trying to take a fight with these conscripts. Whoa, danger of a squad wipe here, staying just a fraction too long for my comfort to throw a Molotov there, which, you know, fair enough, it's Jesulin's call, and clearly he judged it right because those conscripts are going to escape. We do have Zimajor, a German marksman, signing up right now. He's coming on into the field. So we'll see if he's going to be able to turn the fortunes here for Ackbar. He's down at 177 under 477, and now we've got a Katushka on the field, flailing some rockets in. Looks like it's just going to be targeting the base. It's going to find a pack gun. A little unlucky for the Wehrmacht player there. And yeah, that's going to be the end of the AT gun crew there. So he can, of course, reman the AT gun. And, whoa, another snap fallback then. These Dansaks, there's just no answer for the Axis forces. Where are your mortars, buddy? He needs mortars, man. These Dansaks have just been doing spicy work the whole game. And you know what? Wow. Ackbar's just going to call it there. A commanding display of Soviet prowess from Jesulin. And Ackbar, I don't know, I feel like he didn't really have a plan that was very well suited to this map. And if he did, he didn't adapt it when he met Jesulin's tactics. I mean, I just felt like he was never able to take a fight there at all to his benefit. You know, I think mortar squads would have been good for disrupting this kind of positioning. I think, you know, all these weapon teams and things, you know, well, basically just the Dansaks, would have been countered quite nicely by a couple of mortar squads, but mortars also do reasonably against conscripts and things. The MG42s, I mean, the arcs on them, Ackbar had them correctly, like, pretty nice, but always leaving a flanking window for Jesulin, who always seemed to have a conscript squad in the right place at the right time. So savvy play from the Soviet player there. Very nice to see, a commanding display, and finishing the game out in double quick time, 15 minutes 42. Pretty sharpish there from Jesulin. So I'm going to hop back into the live games lobby and try and bring you guys another cast today. So for now, this is Magpie842 signing out, but do of course stay tuned for the next broadcast.